happy Wednesday. Valerie Hunt, RunRx, Ask Me Anything. And so I've gotten 3 great questions this week that I want to answer. So I'll just tell you a little bit what I'm going to talk about. So one is if I have a pre-existing foot condition, like a bunion, or, I'm always going to link that also with if you've got like a shin splint or plantars, kind of all connected with the foot. The question that came in was, what do I do to run with an existing problem with the foot? Second one was breathing. I get this a lot. And then the third one was about pulling the foot up from the ground. How high should I pull my foot? I've been trying to pull my foot up really high, and I'm getting tired when I run. Sorry, we are having a plumber show up, so my dog's gonna bark. Anyway, so great question. So the first one is kind of for the record that a lot of us have some pre-existing conditions with the foot. And there's things that are all included in like tight calves, some people have tight shins, if you will. And a lot of that just needs to be addressed with simple foot exercises. And so I really highly recommend, we've got for free what's called a 30-day reboot on our YouTube channel, and on that you get exercises that include skill, strength, and self-care. You've got to combine all 3. And I will say this from personal experience, that I have 2 broken feet. I've had surgery on both feet, I have nerve damage, I have all kinds of issues. I still run because I learned how to do 2 things. One is learn how to run correctly, and 2, do the exercises, the strength, and the self-care that help me to be able to do that. So does that mean, how do I say it? Like, let's say you do have something like, I don't know, a bunion. So sometimes you're going to have to cut your shoe. I've heard of things like more neuromas. Now, I'm not a podiatrist, so you definitely should, deal with that. But if there's an injury in the foot that's like, my foot hurts, my heel hurts, my plantar hurts, my ankle hurts, all of this stuff can be corrected with strengthening your foot, number 1. And you don't need anything. Everything I include or I talk about or I do, foot scrunches. When is the last time? Let's do something fun. If you're standing here watching, can you lift your big toe independent of the rest of your toes? Just your big toe, nothing else. Can you do it just your right foot, just your left foot, both feet? These are the kinds of things that I start to teach in my course because it's amazing how disconnected we are with our own feet. The other tip I have for you guys, and again, it's on the free stage on the YouTube channel. Most of us don't realize when we run, we do an activity that's called pushing. We take this foot and we press into the ground. Well, when you do that and you extend, you put so much pressure on the calf. And then the foot comes off the ground, your leg's back here. Now my hamstring's loaded, my hip is loaded. Then my hip flexor has to bring all that forward. So there's a lot of action going on that's unnecessary. However, until you correct that, you're going to feel things like tightness in the calves and things like that. So what I try to initiate conversation about is, let's let those calves relax, let's leave them alone. If you actually just pull the foot up from the ground, you use what's called muscle elasticity, and it's like a built-in natural response that you're, yes, using the calf, but not actively. Active calf is pushing, like I'm trying to jump. Like that's a lot of effort in the calf and I went nowhere. However, if I start to, let me show you 2 things. One, and this is something I highly recommend. If I'm here and this is my calf and I just talk to my calf, so I'm scrunching my foot. I'm doing toe scrunches and telling my calf to relax. I'm basically talking to my foot to say, you need to be doing the work, not the calf. We have to connect with our bodies. So how much footwork, I always ask people this, how much footwork are you doing right now? It doesn't have to be all day, but at least once a day, wiggle your toes, get into your feet, develop. Where's your body weight when you run, when you stand? When you stand, when you walk, when you run, where's my body weight? On my feet. What's connected to the ground and supporting all of me? my feet. So if I have a strong foundation in my feet, how much better, how much longer can I run? How much faster can I run, right? So that's number one. Even if the foot isn't a perfect foot, doesn't matter. It can be strengthened. You can have flat feet, you can have high arches. That's okay, that's how you were made. So you work on making that even better. That's what you do, right? And it's all connected. You can't just strengthen your feet and then nothing else. You gotta strengthen your feet, you gotta do glute, hip exercises, right? Glute bridges are very simple to add in. You don't have to do a lot of things. And think about this. Standing in the running pose itself, which is when you're running, when you're on the ground, one pose, optimal pose, so that your body can just use gravity to fall forward, pull the foot, back in pose. Running is a repeated, same movement over and over and over. And if you're always pulling to recover the running pose, you'll be able to fall, go as far as you want, go as fast as you want. Because speed is angle of fall. There's all these really fun things about running that first, if you would connect with, you'll start to let go of some of the effort you put into your run, and your feet will thank you, your knees will thank you, your hips. So that was my foot answer. My second answer that goes with that, though, is if you're going to think shoes will help. What shoes should I get if I have shin splints, or if I have flat feet, or if I have high arches? I get that a lot. Well, first of all, the shoe should feel very comfortable when you put it on, should be flexible, should be able to move like your foot. But make sure first, have I been moving my foot? What does that even mean? So a lot of the shoes that have like motion control, stability control, very heavy, and it's not even as much as the cushion, it's just the shoe itself is not allowing the foot to move as your foot needs to move. So you don't have to go full minimalist. This is pretty full minimalist. There's a lot of companies that make a nice transition shoe. Okay, I'm also going to talk about the height of the pull that kind of goes in with the breathing. And by the way, you're welcome to post a question if you have one, and I will get to your answer. I have a pain in my heel. Hi, Becky. Strength workouts for shin splints. Okay. Great. Yeah, and guys, you can ask questions. I go over and I check. So we had about 4 questions just come in. Okay, here's something. If I'm getting, since we're still on the feet, we're talking about shoes. If I'm still getting pain in my feet, I have to look at what I'm doing with my movement, right? Let's say I'm like, wow, every time I go for a run, somebody just said, every time I go for a run, my calves are really tight. Well, have you been working on strengthening your forefoot and telling your calf to relax? You have to do that. You have to do that because you have to connect with what is my forefoot. Where's the ball of my foot? Where's my body weight? Second thing is, if I'm getting all these pains in my feet, I'm probably staying on the ground too long, because that's what happens when you're going to hurt yourself, is simply that you are landing probably ahead of your body, somewhere around here, and then it's like impact, 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 and it's just too much on the leg. So you've got to develop what's called muscle elasticity, which we all have, and you can do it simply by adding little hops, jumping jacks, little things like that, to develop your ability to do 2 things. One, use your elasticity. We all have muscle elasticity, and we all have the ability to keep developing and using it. So everybody's good on that. It's not like the fast twitch, slow twitch, speed muscles, right? So you work on hopping so that you can get more and more comfortable with what really happens in running is as your body goes forward, the foot is rebounding up from the ground. Body goes forward, foot pulls up. So I keep all the practices really simple that way. So you can have more fun running by simply learning how to, 1, stand in pose. I'm going to strengthen my foot, increase my balance, be able to hold my ears, shoulders, hips in line. So during run, the hardest part of running is this part, holding. I've got to stay here. This never gets to move. Ever. What moves? At least my foot gets to rest, because this goes into height of the pull. If I pull my foot too high, I'm going to need to breathe more. I'm going to use too much muscular effort. So you're going to get tired really easily. So here, this is too much work. We only need to break contact with the ground. That's it. That's hard to get in the beginning, so you're all going to overpull. But recognize if you feel exerted, like I need to breathe too fast. I feel like I'm running fast, but I'm actually not really running very fast. That's what's happening. So go back to, again, you got to go through the practice of realizing I'm only pulling my foot up from the ground. So much less chance to hurt myself, right? And then as you fall, why does the foot pull higher? That's the best part. You simply pull the foot, your hamstring finishes the pull. Your hamstring finishes the pull. You only do this little first part. That's it. So if I'm hurting, if I'm feeling pain, go back to the practice, the simplicity of it, right? That's the funnest part. So let me say this about breathing. If you're breathing heavy without, let's just say this, running should be about cardiovascular. So be okay that your heart rate goes up and you're breathing. It's like being alive. Now that being said, if I cannot sustain my breath, you're probably in the incorrect pose. So this is where it goes back to here. If I'm bent over at the waist, I cannot get a full breath. If I'm back here, I'm also restricting my breathing. So remember the diaphragm is here. You want to breathe like an accordion. It's out and in. If I'm in my pose, I can stay here. My breathing is very comfortable. If I need to, I'm falling and I need to run faster, yes, you're going to need to breathe more. But it should be a natural response in your running. Practice breathing exercises while you're standing in your pose. See? Nose if you want, mouth if you want. That's not so important. In place, you can just practice with full deep breath. So when you're running, it's just natural for you to breathe, right? As you're running. So be very careful that you do not try to regulate breathing while you run. That's important. If you feel like you're getting really winded, exhale and adjust your pose. If you're trying to hold you're here and your feet are moving too fast, you can't keep up, readjust. You control. That's the best part. Your gas pedal is right here. So you choose how fast you want to run. In place, we should all be able to run together, all of us. Up, 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 up. And then you have to make that choice, how far you are willing to let yourself fall. Because falling is not an action. It's just you allowing yourself to fall. And then we practice the action, the response of the pull, and use that elasticity. And when you let go of some of the other work, you'll let go of some of that pain. Because a lot of the ankle pain, the shin pain, someone said, my shin hurts. Shin pain is from tension. So you pulled your foot and then you did this. So you're picking up the foot and putting it back down. You don't have to go down. Gravity does that. We just go up, right? Body falls forward, foot pulls up. And I'm telling you guys, you can go through. I have a free 30-day reboot on RunRx YouTube. It's free. One practice a day, 3 minutes. Skill, strength, and self-care. Develop that strong foundation and let go of some of the effort you're doing. Some of you guys are like trying to kick or you're trying to lift too high and I'm like, let it go. Like be a relaxed runner and let the speed come as you get comfortable. Okay, here's a great question. Let's see. Okay, so Melanie, this is your question. So Melanie asked a question about the foot coming on the ground. I'm going to answer this in 2 ways. One, so like I said, we think about in running pulling the foot up. And when you just practice like the static pull, remember that when your body comes onto the ground, this is what you're going to look like. Because all of your body weight at some point lands on top of your foot. So what you would love to see, here's my foot. As that foot comes down, initial contact is with the ball of the foot. And then as my body weight goes on top of my foot, the whole foot flattens out. And that's when that rebound effect comes in. As my body weight goes over, then it pulls. So if you do nothing with this foot, this is what's so important. I cannot tell you how important it is. It took me so long to get there, so I'm trying to get you guys there quicker. You only pull. So yes, at 100%, you need to understand the answer I just gave you of what the foot does. without you doing it. Allow it to happen. So when you practice, you're standing here and you work on, go through that, I'm telling you guys, go through the practice. If I do just one pull, I felt what? I felt the pull, but I felt also my foot land. I didn't do anything. I pulled. I allowed this one to land. The next step is, because in running, you will only be feeling that landing, if you will, but it's more about sensing that when I sense that, to pull up. So then you work on feeling that sensation I just gave you. When I feel the ground, I pull. You see? When I feel the ground, I pull, instead of looking for the ground. Because if I think about I need to be landing on the ball of my foot, then watch what you're going to do. You're going to go like this. I'm looking down for the ground. Now I've got tension in my ankle, and I'm running by feeling the ground, and then you'll push. Okay? So you have to let go of thinking at all about where's my foot. You'll know, because there it is. See, I'm not looking at the ground. I'm only pulling. And as you start to fall, that timing of pulling the foot in response to the fall is the greatest relationship you can develop and keep it for the rest of your life. That's when you see those elite marathoners or sprinters, they look so smooth. That's because instead of looking for the ground, they've got that timing. Some of them are pulling their foot up even before it's reached the ground, like they've gotten so connected with that. So that's what you can develop for yourself. Become more concerned with, where's my body pose? Are my shoulders over my hips? Are my hips forward? Am I feeling that I'm pulling my foot in response to ground contact? It's a rebound. Pop, pop, pop. You know, that's what's so fun about it. That's why you do all the drills, to develop that elasticity. When you let go of landing and you focus on the up, you guys produce impact. Your shins will thank you. Also, as you develop elasticity, you will release that ankle tension. So again, we add in things like ankle circles and all of that, but any of that tension is coming from intent and landing instead of just pulling the foot up. So great question, but it is helpful to know what the foot actually does. So I love to geek out on this stuff. Let me just say this, because I've been really excited to have so many great questions coming in. And, you know, just I know you guys, I hope so, watch the videos. I try to give these little daily tips. And I always say, go back into those. We've got if you're hurting, you can take the free RunRx quiz. I mean, I would love most of all for you to join the membership. We do 12 weeks of gait analysis, check-in. Like, there's just nothing better than being able to have someone help you develop your correct movement for what you want to do, run pain-free. But I give you all that because I want you to get started on it, like to watch the videos, do the YouTube work, and then reach out. Now you've got a chance to ask questions, and I really try to get back. So if you didn't get a question answered, just add it to the comments, and I'm happy to go look at it later. And most of all, guys, spend a little bit of time with just one thing of each. If I would just spend a little bit of time practicing my pull, doing a little bit of hopping, a little change of support, it's amazing how far that'll take you into your run. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you next Wednesday, and keep the questions coming. Thank you, guys.